All right, I would like to call this meeting of the Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission to order. Can we get a roll call?
Duncan Campbell.
Here.
Drew Heron. Jack Baker.
Here.
John Butler.
Here.
Ernesto Castaneda.
Here.
Melanie Dusner. Karen Duffy. Here. Jeremy Hackard.
Here.
Abby Hansen. Daniel Schlegel.
Here.
We have quorum.
And Jeff Golden.
Oh, Jeff, I'm so sorry. Jeff Golden.
Just walked in.
Okay.
There's a better chair over there open.
All right, let's move on to election of offices. Is there anybody, we can do this one of two ways. We can either wait for a larger body and elect offices for this meeting, or we can go ahead and take nominees for chair and vice chair for the year. Does anybody have a motion for chair either for the year or for this meeting?
I'll do it.
Okay, so that's a nomination for Jeremy Hackard from Jeremy Hackard.
For this meeting or for the whole year?
Either one.
I'll second that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go for the year.
So we have a motion on the floor to nominate Jeremy Hackard as the commission chair for 2026. We have a second. We'll go ahead and take a vote. Voting members only, please. Jack Baker.
Yes.
John Butler.
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda.
Yes.
Melanie Dusner's not here. Jeff Golden.
Abstain.
Karen Duffy.
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard.
Yes.
Abby Hansen not here. Daniel Schlegel.
Yes.
That motion passes. Congratulations to our chair.
Thank you.
Do you want to take away the next item?
Yeah, sure. So next up is the election of the vice chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair? Shall I say someone's name?
Is there anybody that, if anybody wants to throw around any nominations of your colleagues?
Jack, are you interested? Because you were chair for a year, weren't you? For the committee?
Here, no. I haven't been an officer here.
Okay. For some reason I thought you had.
Would you want to? I will.
So is that a motion to nominate?
Yeah, I'll nominate Jack.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to nominate Jack Baker as the vice chair for 2026 or for this meeting.
2026.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll take that vote. Jack Baker,
Yes.
John Butler,
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda,
Yes.
Jeff Golden,
Abstain.
Karen Duffy,
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard,
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel.
Yes.
That motion passes, and congratulations to our vice chair.
So one thing that I wanted to add at this point in the meeting is City Council, I believe, recently passed Ordinance 2026-04, which makes some amendments to Title II that handles boards and commissions. As I understand it, one of the changes that might affect our commission is that they're proposing that each board or commission have a elected secretary and treasurer. Right now, both of these things are handled by Housing and Neighborhood Development. So I'm gonna await some more clarification on that, but I wanted to give everyone a heads up.
Thanks, Noah. Next up on the agenda is approval of the minutes for January 22nd. Do I have a motion?
I'll move
All right.
for approval.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Excellent.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the minutes of the January 22nd HPC meeting. Jack Baker,
Yes.
John Butler,
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda,
Yes.
Melanie Dusner. Oh, sorry, she's not here. Jeff Golden,
Abstain.
Karen Duffy,
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard,
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Excellent. Next up is staff review for COA 2606. Noah?
All right, our first item, certificate of appropriateness, 2606. The address is 213 East 14th Street in the Garden Hill Historic District. Petitioner is Troy Hanna. This is a non-contributing property. The request is for the replacement of the windows and front door, neither of which are original to the house, as well as in-kind replacements of the siding and roofing materials, and the replacement of a clamshell aluminum awning with a lumber awning, gable-shaped, capped with roofing shingles. Staff approves COA 2606. Replacement of the roof shingles and siding in kind is not subject to review, and this work can be conducted without the commission or staff approval. Existing windows and doors are not original, and the proposed replacements would closely match the existing size and configuration. The aluminum awnings are a later mid-century addition, but do not necessarily confer greater historic or architectural significance. The new proposed pediment over the front door is sympathetic to the design of the house and its period of construction. All right.
All right. Next up is commission reviews for certificates of appropriateness. I'm going to read the statement here. The procedure for COAs and demolition delays. For each item, the Historic Preservation Program Manager, Noah, will first present a staff report. We will then hear if the petitioner has any additional information, followed by a round of questions from each commissioner. We ask that petitioners, the public, and commissioners refrain from speaking until addressed by the chair, which is me, unless the question is directly addressed to them. If a member of the public or a petitioner wishes to comment, please raise your hand until recognized by the chair. Once a motion is made, we will then open up a discussion of the item for members of the commission. We encourage all commissioners, petitioners, and members of the public to be civil and respectful at all times. All right, Noah, go ahead.
Just a second. I think, sorry, we're working with this new format.
Yeah, it's not the easiest.
No. Okay, so this is 2604. Okay. Property in question is 302 North Rogers Street, the Bethel AME Church, which is an individually listed historic district. The petitioner is Alan Edmonds.
Is the petitioner here?
I believe the petitioner is present online.
Online.
Okay.
Can you press to unmute? Okay. This is an outstanding 1922 Tudor Revival limestone church with some classical features. Bethel AME Church is an individually listed historic district built by Bloomington architect John Nichols in 1922. It has served the same congregation since its inception and is relatively unaltered aside from plastic coverings over the stained glass windows to improve insulation. The Bethel congregation itself was incorporated in 1870. The congregation is applying to the City of Bloomington Seal Grant, for a City of Bloomington Seal Grant to cover the cost of an energy audit and $10,000 contributing to the replacement of windows. This request, which was sent to me by Alan Edmonds, is as follows. Our current plan is to replace all 39 double-hung windows. We aim to match the grid layouts in all cases. The replacements of the 2 pentagonal windows and 2 trapezoidal windows will not be double-hung and will not open. One other point is that we plan to use obscured glass on all the windows on the lower level, but clear glass on the upper levels and on the east end of the building, including the east ends of the north and south sides. We are not replacing the triangular area over the side door on the south side. It appears to be in decent shape, and it might be tricky to match the grid there. As for the metal trim, which is proposed for the window sills, it will be caulked in place and should be watertight. The existing exterior wood trim has not been properly maintained for many years, I'm afraid. My hope and expectation is that the caulk-sealed metal trim covering all wood trim will be a vast improvement and last a long time. Hope these comments help. I want to also mention that our supplier has notified me that we expect a price increase for orders submitted on or after Monday, February 23rd. With that in mind, our goal is to be able to move ahead quickly after the commission hearing on February 12th, with the goal of getting paperwork, partial payment, etc., completed no later than February 19th. Please pass along any further questions that you have for the commission. I will run through some images that we have of the existing windows. So this proposal calls for vinyl replacement windows, double hung, to match the size and display of muntins, but they would use an interior grid rather than true or simulated divided glass. Yeah. Staff recommends the conditional approval of COA 2604 for the replacement of windows and the repair or in-kind replacement of wood sills, rather than covering them with another material. The Code of Federal Regulations, CFR 36, Part 68, acknowledges that there are some circumstances in which economic and technical feasibility of a project will have to be taken into account when interpreting the Secretary of Interior standards. The criteria for this judgment include the necessity of a project and the demonstration of a substantial cost burden. Churches and religious buildings are one type of property to which these considerations are most often applied because they are often large, non-income producing properties that pose practical and financial challenges during restoration. In this case, not all of the windows for which replacement has been proposed are in the same state of disrepair, but windows along the south elevation in particular show extensive rot, broken pane, damaged muntins, and damage from the elements. There are 39 windows for which replacement is proposed, and the estimates provided for by the energy audit give a range of $750 to $2,000 per window with interior divided lights. The City of Bloomington Seal Grant can cover some of this cost, but cannot cover full window repair or replacement. While Indiana Landmarks provides for other applicable grants, which may be able to cover the cost of more faithful replacements, staff cannot speculate on their availability. Storm windows are generally a cheaper option for thermal insulation, provided that they can be built to a size that fits. But the audit provided demonstrates that the deterioration of the windows beneath still remains an issue. While some of these windows on the second story are less visible, all of the first floor windows are double hung and close to the sidewalk. Obscured glass is already used on these ground floor windows. The divided lights, size, and shapes of these windows are also important defining features of the building, and so replacement materials should seek to imitate the appearance as closely as possible. Considering the extent of deterioration, replacement may be appropriate at this point. The Secretary of the Interior guidelines do not recommend obscuring wood details underneath metal or other materials not historically part of the building. While some sills may need mitigation, repair or replacement would be a preferable option that would not alter the appearance of the wood sills and trim and would avoid further complications resulting from the capture of moisture underneath aluminum sheathing. At this point, I'd like to ask if the petitioners have anything that they would like to add.
Alan Redmond's here. I think you gave a fair representation of the situation. Badly deteriorated windows should be replaced. A small congregation, which hasn't obviously been able to maintain the existing wood around those windows in a decent way for quite a while now. So we're looking for something that looks very similar, is much more energy efficient, and is minimal, has minimal maintenance issues along the way. That's where we are with the vinyl windows and the proposed metal trim.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any public comments? Does anybody wish to speak on this COA, both in the room or online? Hearing none, let's go ahead and do commissioner comments. Ernesto, you want to start off?
I don't have comments at this point.
Or questions?
Questions.
Do you have questions?
Not at this point.
Duncan, do you have questions?
So is this is proposing to, not just to do the sash, but the whole window unit? Is that right?
That's right.
And does that replacement unit include the sill?
As I understand it, this is a sort of a standard replacement where they pull the existing window out, but leave the frame of the existing window in place and insert the new window in and then caulk it inside and out to make use of the existing wood frame.
So the replacement unit does not include the frame?
Correct.
And I think that you're proposing to clad that frame and sill in aluminum, is that correct?
That's right.
Has there been other than the seal report, has there been an evaluation of the windows one by one to grade their condition?
Well, we've had two proposed installers come and inspect and make proposals for replacing them. And I don't think we looked at it from the point of view of leaving some. And when we started, we said maybe we can only afford to do the very worst ones, which are on the south side of the building. Somehow the weather is much more effective there. But all of the windows, from the energy efficiency point of view, all the windows are, of course, 100-year-old windows and are not nearly as energy tight as we'd like to have. So as we got into the project of thinking about it, we aimed to replace them all if we possibly could.
That's all.
The installers that we talked to, of course, their industry standard nowadays is this sort of vinyl windows with the multiple panes and so forth. So they're aiming to be airtight and energy efficient, well insulated windows. So that's the priority from that point of view. From our point of view.
That's all the questions I have.
Jeff, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Daniel? John?
No questions.
Karen? I have a couple of questions. For the petitioner, did you reach out to Indiana Landmarks about any of their grant-making opportunities, particularly the Black Heritage Preservation Program or the Sacred Places Indiana programs?
We have not yet. Noah told us a little bit about what's on now. My impression was they had fairly tight deadlines, and we were thinking to approach them about subsequent projects. But we did not, at this time, didn't get deep enough into what their possibilities are.
Were wood windows ever considered for replacements?
Pardon me?
Wood, the material?
No.
No? Okay, thank you. Jack, do you have any questions?
I wanted to question to the commissioners. I'm not very familiar with vinyl windows, but in terms of life expectancy versus a metal clad or vinyl clad window, what is your take on them? Do they have good life? Do they provide the insulation levels that are purported? I'd like to hear.
The most efficient window combination is wood body, painted wood body with a double pane or single pane with a single pane glazed storm window. That's the most efficient. If you go to a double pane window, a wood window that is clad with aluminum is the next best in terms of efficiency. Vinyl is low on the list for efficiency, but as the petitioners mentioned, well-fitted windows are really more of an issue than anything. It's air infiltration that is the issue. And windows and doors are not where most heat is lost. It's through the roof. So when I looked at the seal report, for instance, the first thing I would do is super insulate the roof, because that's probably where they're losing most of their heat. But windows are graded and have been, by quality and material. Wood windows are still the best insulated, the best insulator, single or double glazed.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions?
I think Duncan asked the question, I'll ask it again. Apparently, there was not a one-on-one, one-by-one window determination. It was a gross determination of all windows. So no one went through and looked at each window and said, this one can be done, this one cannot be done. Is that the case?
Is that directed at?
That's true. That's true. We did go around the building one by one, looking at all of them in succession, but we did not make an attempt to. And we did also say which ones are the worst. And as I said, at one point, we thought, we'll just look at those south side windows, which are definitely by far the worst. But as we looked one by one, the opinion we came up with was that it was better to do everything at once if we could.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
No more questions? All right, at this point, I'll entertain a motion from the commissioners on this COA.
So I'll move technically I have to move we approve it, so then we can go to the next step. Is that right? I'm trying to remember with the new system.
So yes, you would make a motion, and then we would make comments based on that motion.
I'd move we approve COA 26-04.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All right, let's discuss it. Ernesto?
Yeah, I agree with the recommendations from staff. But I do think that they should probably look into Indiana landmarks, because it's a good resource for getting more grants and being able to do this properly. So I don't know how to deal with that.
Duncan, do you have comments?
Yeah, and I think that's the issue. By preservation standards, the best, what you would normally do would be to grade every window. Usually we make a sheet that replicates what the window looks like. We grade the quality of the glass, the quality of the frame, the quality of the sash, and then evaluate the work based on that need. I'm not arguing that they don't all need something. They may. I haven't looked at it myself, but that would be a normal procedure. And then to try to get the highest quality window possible would be the next best option, in which case I think that would be a clad wood window with either single glaze or double glaze with a storm window. But I acknowledge that that's the more expensive route to take. If you took that route, let's just say there were, how many are there? 39 windows, and 15 of them were absolutely needed to be replaced right now. There's no economic merit in replacing them with the cheapest window available, or the window that won't last the longest, or that is the least energy efficient. In the long run, But as Noah mentioned in his recommendation, and I think that's why you're agreeing with it, there's economic hardship here probably. I mean, if they couldn't, if the church hasn't been able to maintain them, then they're not probably going to have a pot of money to replace them with the highest quality window going. My strategy, my strategy would be to do the worst ones first at the same time that they're taking care of the other energy needs, which I think take priority, frankly, judging from the SEAL report. So it's not a matter of disagreeing with Noah or disagreeing with what the issues, the economic issues here, about what's the best strategy for getting the best product. And I think replacing them as needed with maybe a higher quality product than a vinyl window would be a more sound, long-term, more economic route to take. And just to comment on vinyl windows in general, and there are lots of different grades of them, they don't last anywhere near as long as wood windows that are maintained. But in this case, maintenance is as big an issue as purchase. So I would get the most maintenance-free window I could get with the most efficiency, and that would be a wood window that's clad with aluminum. It doesn't have to be painted on the outside. That's a complicated answer, but it's a complicated problem, and I totally sympathize with the church and their congregation, because it's a pressing issue, and it's, you got money on the one hand and quality on the other, and the long-term benefit as a third consideration.
All right, Jeff, do you have any comments?
So my comments would echo what Duncan said. Looking at the windows on what's needed right now, and thinking about long term, even though maybe the cost right now might be prohibitive to do them all. I think long term, for a struggling a church like this, is that you deal with what you have to deal with, and I also agree with this. Windows are great, but they're not the most important thing. That's it.
Daniel?
No, I think mine's already been said, so.
No comments.
Could you elaborate a little, or repeat what you said about your conditional? Is about the sills?
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, at this point, that is something I'd like to, with your permission, Chair, ask Duncan about.
Sure.
Sure.
So understanding that those sills and surrounds would be left in, obviously, what's recommended in the guidelines for the rehabilitation of historic properties is that, that would not be covered up or obscured.
Yeah.
Do you think, for the sake of the longevity of these windows, that there would be a reason to unconditionally approve this application as is? If there was, say, an agreement on my recommendation about replacing the windows themselves?
Unconditionally.
I don't want to force your hand with the question, I guess.
Well, ask it another way. I'm not quite
Okay.
sure I understand what you're saying.
Do you think that installing cladding on the window surrounds
The existing
would be,
window.
yeah, do you think that would be problematic to approve?
Yeah, probably in the long run, it probably will be, because they tend to sweat, and then the wood rots from underneath. I think what I've done in the past is, when the frames are meant to stay, and are intended to stay, which they are in this case, is to scrape and repaint the frames with a really high quality paint, and put in a pressure treated sill and paint it after a year. You have to let it dry first. Pressure treated sills last a long, long, long time. And good paint will also. And it's probably just as cheap to paint the frames, not the sash, as it is to clad them. That would be my guess. And it would look better.
Thanks.
But it's a maintenance issue because you have to keep painting them. I mean, every 10 years probably, you would have to paint them. And this, but I think it's in the long term, it saves the original material. And if you clad them, you probably won't save it for more than 10 years. It's a really complicated issue. That's why windows are always such a pain, because there's just a lot of choices, and money is, they're not getting any cheaper. It's almost to the point where taking them out and completely repairing them, whatever they need, and putting them back is just about as cheap as buying a new, good quality window. A new wood-clad window, roughly this size, a solid wood window with divided lights between the panes and aluminum cladding, they start at about $1,300 and they go up. So take it times 39 and you see where you're at. Whereas repair can be anything from $250 to $500 a window. So it's really a conundrum when you got 39 windows. On the showers building, we had to do a window survey for over 300 windows. We had to survey every one of them and make recommendations for each one. And the National Park Service allowed them to replace them all because the overall deterioration was greater than 60%. So that, the standard is sliding. But those recommendations are pretty much meet Secretary standards, I would say.
I don't have any other comments. Do you have comments?
Yes, that's why I asked the question about Honda windows, is to find out quality and time, how long they'll last and what they'll do for. And it seems they're the lowest quality, I agree. My opinion is overall better for the church to replace progressively, not at once. I think that is I think that's a good idea. It allows them to build a budget in between replacements, to also to look at each window individually and decide what to do with it. I'm a little worried about replacing everything at one time. It's a cost saving, and I understand why you would want to grab at it, because I'm sure they're worried about them. But I think overall the better way to do it is to do it progressively, window by window or group by group, rather than doing everything one and doing a higher quality clad window. That's my opinion.
I will add that approaching Indiana landmarks on the two levels that you mentioned, they have a very active African American fund that they're really trying to build, and so I think they would really be welcoming to a request.
I guess I do want to have one other comment here. The Black Heritage Preservation Program, the grants range from $500 to $30,000, and then the Sacred Spaces programs, their grants go from $25,000 to $500,000. So there's money out there that is available for the church to use to preserve this building, and giving its rating, no matter the outcome, I think, of what we do here, they need to contact Indiana Landmarks and see if they can get into one of these programs to help make sure that we keep Bethel there.
They also can provide technical assistance,
Yes.
and they will not fund inappropriate windows. I'll tell you that.
And I might add that the windows are such a defining, character-defining feature of this gorgeous building that you'd have a good case, I would think.
I would think so too. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of our discussion, so comes time to vote.
Do we have public comment?
Yeah.
We already did. I asked for comment earlier, but.
Oh,
Oh.
go ahead.
Oh, they didn't hear it? Okay.
So we from Bethel.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm Valerie Graham, so I'm a member of the trustee and student board. So there are a couple of things that I'd like to provide, at least what I think is a point of clarification, and that is the question about looking at the windows one by one. We did. We went to, that's how we got to the conclusion that we reached. We went to each window, inside and outside. And what's happening on the inside is not evident from the outside. From the inside underneath, which is why we are talking about replacing the whole window and getting a new window that fits into the frame, is that over the years, the water has come in and has caused the wood to rot. And so in some area, the entire bottom area just has to be replaced, rebuilt, whatever language you want to use. So we did go window by window with 2 to 3 different people and among ourselves to look at the condition of the window. There were a couple we thought we could save, but then we went inside and saw the wreckage that termites or something had done, which requires us to totally replace that particular window. So I just wanted to be clear, this was not just a stand back, look at it, think. It was a detailed estimation and exploration of what's happening inside and outside the church as far as those windows are concerned. So another thing is, I know that the conversation about grants is happening. Our church is small, so that's the reason why I cross between the steward and the trustee board. You're not talking about a lot of people, and the few people we have, everybody got full-time jobs. So we did initiate a campaign based on the number of years we've been here, 155. And so we have funds to move forward and to do the kind of work that we think is good work. That would last some time. I might not be here for the next installment, but at least what we have come up with, I think would last a long time. And so we have money to move forward. And it's not that we won't try to get the landmark money, but we need that for some other stuff. That the church is 155 years old. It got some basement issue that we'll probably be coming back to you again for. So I'd just like to say that we've been working on this 2 years and have a good sense of what we think work. We've talked to 3 different companies that have given us different ways to think about it, and that's where we are.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate that.
Yes, and I'm Nancy Cross Harris. Also, just like she said, I'm trustee, in the church, long time. Everything she said is correct. We had 3 different estimates come out, and not only just one time, but twice. So each window has been viewed and viewed and viewed, at least 6 times. And that's why we did come to that conclusion, that they all need replacement.
Except for the stained glass, we're not
Except,
missing
no,
the stained
as
glass.
you can see, the stain from here. Yeah, that's great. That's inside the sanctuary. But all that other, over the years, we have taken care of the basement and the sub-basement floors, trying to maintain them. But water just keeps gushing in, as she mentioned, rotting out wood and so forth. And it just ruins the floor. So that's all we're trying to do is maintain that.
Sure.
And have everything be efficient.
Thank you very much. Are there any other comments on this from the public? Online? Okay. All right. We'll go ahead
All right,
and
so
call
we
the
have a
roll.
motion on the floor for COA 2604. Motion to approve. We'll go ahead and take a roll call
And is
vote.
this for the conditional approval or for the approval?
Daniel, you moved for what Noah said, didn't you?
I don't remember what I said.
It was a motion to staff approval.
Could you restate the condition, please?
Sure. This would be conditional approval for the replacement of the windows, but not for covering the surrounds. Mm-hmm.
Is that what I had said previously?
That's what
I
thought
think
you
it
were.
was. I think your motion was for the conditional approval.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
That's what I want it to be, so that's.
Yes.
hopefully that's what I
Yeah,
said.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's what it was
Talking
for.
about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote. Jack Baker,
No.
John Butler,
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda,
Yes.
Jeff Golden,
No.
Melanie Dusner,
Abstain?
Karen Duffy,
Yes?
Jeremy Hackard,
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel.
Yes.
All right, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 noes, and an abstention, so that motion passes.
All right. Thank you very much for coming in, and thank you for your public comments. Appreciate it. All right, next.
Could I have a quick clarification about what we just passed?
Sure.
This was okay to take the proposal we have, replace the windows, but to leave the wood frames uncovered and deal with that later, or something.
Right, and then the wood frames, they could be repainted or replaced in kind without necessarily needing approval from the commission, but the approval was not given for covering them in aluminum.
And so I would say let's follow up with Noah after this.
Yeah.
And we can go through any sort of clarifications at that time.
Right. We can work that out.
So next up on the agenda, we have COA 2607. Is the petitioner here for that?
This is petitioner Han Chong. Is the petitioner present online?
All right, so we'll move that to
Yeah, we
the end
can-
of the agenda, and we'll cover that if they end up coming up at some point. So we'll move to COA 2608. Is the petitioner present? Ben Swanson?
We have a pen online. I'm gonna ask you.
Ben, are you the petitioner?
I'm here, yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Okay, Noah, can you do your report?
Sure. This is the application for a certificate of appropriateness 2608 for 213 South Rogers Street. Would someone be able to close the door? Oh, open door. We can't.
Stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. We can't close the door.
Please leave the door open.
Okay. Sorry.
We have to leave the door open.
Okay. Because open door means open door.
Yeah, we're very sorry. Maybe we can ask whomever's working.
Okay, I'll just shout. Okay. 213 South Rogers Street, the Frosted Food Building. Petitioner is Ben Swanson. The request here is for the reduction in height of industrial chimney to the lower tier and then capping it with a cement crown. 213 South Rogers is an individually listed historic property, a former factory building. It has served as an auto repair shop, sheet metal workshop, and refrigeration company / slaughterhouse. It was designated in 1995 as part of a grant application. The building has a limestone facade with picture windows and a stepped parapet facing Rogers. Most of the building is brick with large metal gridded industrial windows. On the roof near the south facade stands a tall, square brick chimney. The request from the applicant proposes a partial removal of the existing masonry chimney located on the roof of the building at 213 South Rogers Street. The chimney is no longer actively in use and currently extends above the roof line. Visual inspection from the adjacent parking lot shows a clear transition in brick material approximately 1/3 of the way up the chimney, indicating an earlier construction phase and a later addition above it. The proposal is to remove only the upper portion of the chimney down to this original brick transition, thereby retaining the historic base and preserving the original massing and appearance of the structure as viewed from the street. The purpose of the partial removal is twofold: safety and maintenance. The upper portion of the chimney is exposed to weather and presents long-term maintenance issues and safety concerns. Reducing the height of the chimney will lessen the structural risk while allowing the remaining historic masonry to be properly capped and stabilized. Secondly, for sustainability improvements, the reduced chimney height will significantly limit the shadow on the roof, which will be necessary to support a future solar energy installation. The proposed work aligns with the sustainability goals while minimizing the alteration of historic materials. No changes are proposed to the building's footprint or primary elevations or character-defining features visible from the public right-of-way. The work represents a reversible, minimal intervention that retains historic materials where feasible and ensures continued preservation and functional use of the building. All work will be performed by a qualified masonry contractor using appropriate preservation techniques. The materials to be used include the retention of existing brick masonry, mortar repair, using a compound to match the existing mortar in composition, color, texture, and joint profile. A chimney cap, what's being proposed would be a concrete mortar crown with a 2-inch overhang. While the 2-inch overhang was not generally a consistent practice in the early 1900s, when the building was originally constructed, we are recommending the minor alteration, as the overhang does help with the watershed and will help to preserve for a longer time the original bricks that are almost impossible to come by at this time. This, paired with tuck pointing, will greatly aid preservation. New flashing will be installed as needed at the roof interface to ensure proper waterproofing. Flashing materials will be durable, weather resistant, and minimally visible. Staff recommends the approval of COA 2608. The brick chimney is a small feature, but nonetheless significance for, I don't know how this typo entered here, but for, I'm going to read it the way that makes sense, conveying the property's industrial history. The top 2/3 of the chimney are narrower, built with a different brick from the rest of the original structure. The higher tier was built before the 1990s renovation, but likely after the building's main period of significance, which is the early 1920s and 30s. Possibly after the building became a meat processing plant in the early 1940s. I had some trouble finding older pictures of this building. There are aerials and maps that show the building materials and overall dimensions of the building, but I haven't found anything that indicates the original chimney height. Does the petitioner have anything that he would like to add?
No, I think that covers it, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any public comments regarding this COA? All right, hearing none. Ernesto, do you have any questions?
Do not. Thank you.
Duncan, questions?
No, I will say that I led the renovation on this building, and it's on the National Register of Historic Places also. It was a federal tax credit project. And I consulted with the owner because he called me and asked me if I had any old pictures. But what I had were the pictures that prior to the renovation, which was in the early 90s. And we determined that extension chimney was added at a time when that chimney was needed to have its peak above the top of the domed roof by code, because they were using it to vent a furnace, we believe. And we put that canister on top of it it's a filter for what was once a hair salon that went in there as one of our tenants. And it's a way of filtering out the fumes from hair salon. And it's not being used anymore either. So the original chimney is the short stub. So they would be returning it to the original configuration, which I think is fine. It's totally appropriate.
All right. Jump in.
No questions.
Daniel, questions?
No, I think Noah covered everything great with his report.
Okay. Melody, questions?
No questions.
John?
No questions.
Karen?
No question.
I don't have any. Jack? No? All right, I did public comment earlier. So do I have a motion on this?
I move for approval.
I second.
All right. Jack had the motion, second Ernesto. All right, let's talk about it. Ernesto, do you have any comments?
No, I think Duncan summarized it. Thank you.
Anything else, Duncan? Okay, Jeff?
I'm going to support this.
Okay, Daniel? Melody?
Appreciated Duncan's context.
John?
Seems like a no-brainer. I'm gonna support it.
Yes, it's good to have the full information here, background.
Yeah, I support this. Jack?
I think at one time, it might have made sense to have a very tall chimney there if meat processing and depending on what kind of a furnace they had, probably coal at one point, and you get the smoke up away out of people's faces. Could be pretty nasty, and there's just no need for it anymore, and taking the chimney down, I think, doesn't do anything to demean the character of the building. So.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. I think we're ready to call roll.
The motion that's been seconded to approve COA 2608. Roll call vote. Jack Baker.
Yes.
John Butler.
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda.
Yes.
Jeff Golden.
Yes.
Melanie Dusner.
Yes.
Karen Duffy.
Yes.
Jeremy Hacker.
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Excellent, thank you very much. All right, next up, we have COA 2609. This is with the Chickering Rentals. Is the petitioner in the room or online? And what's your name?
My name's Lindsay.
Lindsay, okay, thank you very much.
I'm sorry about the wait, Lindsay.
No, I'm so sorry for being late.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. All right, Noah, would you go ahead with your report?
Certificate of Appropriateness 2609. This application is for 806 South Woodlawn Avenue. Oh, another typo. Oh, well, this is Elm Heights, not Maple Heights. The Elm Heights Historic District. Petitioner is Chickering Rentals. The request here is for retroactive approval of the replacement of wood windows with vinyl windows with an interior grid. I received a letter with a request. Dear Historic Preservation Department, I'm writing to formally request approval for the removal and replacement of existing windows at 806 South Woodlawn Avenue, a contributing property located in the Elm Heights Historic District. We fully recognize the architectural and historic significance of the Elm Heights neighborhood and appreciate the Historic Preservation Department's role in protecting its character. This proposal has been carefully developed to balance historic preservation with responsible stewardship, long-term building preservation, and modern performance needs. Existing conditions. The existing windows of the property are original or early generation units that have deteriorated significantly over time. Current conditions allow include air and water infiltration, failing glazing, compromised weather seals, and difficulty opening and closing. In several locations, these deficiencies contribute to moisture intrusion, interior finish deterioration, and reduced energy efficiency. While the existing windows have been maintained where possible, their condition has reached a point where continued repair is no longer a sustainable or effective long-term solution. Proposed scope of work. We propose replacing the existing windows with new, historically compatible windows designed to closely match the original window profiles, proportions, and configuration as viewed from the public right-of-way. The proposed replacements will maintain the appropriate sash division, muntin patterns, and overall scale consistent with the architectural character of Elm Heights houses. The intent is to preserve the exterior appearance of the structure while significantly improving its performance and longevity. Benefits of the proposed window replacement: long-term preservation of the structure. Modern windows provide superior protection against moisture intrusion, a primary contributor to rot and structural deterioration in historic homes. Improving ceiling will protect original framing, trim, plaster, and interior finishes, supporting the long-term preservation of the building. Energy efficiency and environmental responsibility. New windows will substantially improve the thermal performance by reducing heat loss in the winter heat gain in the summer. This reduces the overall energy consumption, lowers utility demand, and supports sustainability goals without altering the historic appearance of the home. Improved safety and code compliance. Many existing windows are difficult to operate due to age, paint buildup, or warped components. New windows will improve the ease of operation, ensure reliable emergency egress, and enhance occupant safety while maintaining appropriate historic proportions. Reducing ongoing maintenance. Replacement windows significantly reduce the need for frequent reglazing, repainting, and repairs. This allows maintenance resources to be directed toward other preservation efforts, including continued investment in the historic fabric of the home. Preservation of Elm Heights' visual character. The proposed windows are selected specifically to replicate the historic appearance of the originals. From the street, the visual change will be minimal, preserving the established character and rhythm of the Elm Heights Historic District. Commitment to collaboration. We're committed to working closely with the Historic Preservation Department throughout this process. We are happy to provide window specifications, drawings, photographs, product samples, or any other materials required to support this request and ensure compliance with the Elm Heights Historic District standards. Thank you for your time and consideration. We appreciate this department's guidance and look forward to working collaboratively to preserve this property in a manner that respects both its historic significance and future viability. Sincerely, Lindsay Thompson, Chickering Rentals. I'll show you these, as you can see here, are images of the existing windows, I believe from 2023, showing, you'll find more online, linked to the meeting packet, but some examples of interior and exterior condition. You can see here the replacement windows, interior and exterior. Staff does not recommend the approval of COA 2609. The Elm Heights Historic District guidelines allow the replacement of windows in the condition that they cannot be repaired. In 2025, the Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission did approve, in a divided vote, the replacement of badly warped 1/1 windows in a property in the Elm Heights Historic District with clad aluminum replacements, following the argument that the difference would not be visible. The replacement windows installed at 806 South Woodlawn replicate the original pattern of Muntins, although the visual difference between simulated dividing lights and interior grids adds another design factor to consider. As a retroactive COA proposed in response to a notice of violation, the proposal asks for approval of work conducted without an application. Last year, the serving Historic Preservation Commission chair and city staff were invited to visit another property owned by the applicant in the Elm Heights Historic District to consider potential window replacement. After an inspection, it was determined that the existing windows could be repaired and alternative means of insulating the existing windows, including weather stripping or the installation of storm windows or cellular shades, were not outside the bounds of consideration. It is unknown whether this visit took place before or after the replacement of windows at 806 South Woodlawn. While the windows at 806 South Woodlawn were likely close to 90 years old, it is not clear that they were inoperable or unrepairable. It is also not clear that other thermal efficiency measures could not have been considered prior. Images uploaded to Zillow and Realtor.com between the time that the property was purchased in January 2024 and the updated Zillow information following interior and exterior work on the property uploaded in January 2026 do not seem to show that the windows are in poor condition, although it can be difficult to tell the extent to which the frames may be warped or glazing and seals in need of repair. Considering these circumstances, staff recommends that the windows be replaced with either the originals or wood windows matching the size and configuration. Does the petitioner have anything that she would like to add at this point?
Yeah, I first off want to say that I live 3 houses down from this house, so I am in the Elm Heights neighborhood currently. I know that it's very easy to look at landlords or rental companies and see them as faceless people, but yeah, I have a very deep love of Elm Heights and very much loved living there. I grew up in Brown County, and my father and my father-in-law are both contractors, so I in no way, shape, or form do not honor what you're doing here and honor preservation. However, I live in a house that currently has historic windows, and during this, that also has spray foam insulated attic space. And during this last cold snap, we were running our fireplace during most of the time when we were in our living room because it was so cold due to the single pane windows. I do want to address the fact that we bought a lot of properties, the homeowner, I am just the kind of property manager, bought a lot of properties at the same time, and we remodeled them very quickly during that time. We were not as aware as we are now of the historic guidelines. So I do apologize. We were in here about a year and a half ago for a door, and it was replaced about the same time as the window. So it's all, once again, especially now that I'm living in the neighborhood and I'm becoming more aware of the rules. So I just want to let everybody know that these were not rules that we knew about, that we just stampled on or trampled on. We are learning and have learned more as we bought in the neighborhood. All I'm asking is that I do know that currently the Elm Heights neighborhood is rewriting their bylaws for the neighborhood, and I'd like to see if there's any way to have a variance of some sort to see where these new bylaws come, and then we could abide by those. Because I know that windows and doors have been a big conversation in the neighborhood. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any public comments regarding this certificate? Please state your name. Go ahead.
Jenny Southern. I serve on the committee in the Elm Heights Historic District. Haven't met some of the new commissioners. I was actually in the front yard of this house, knew the previous owner 12 years ago. He had lived in Colonial Williamsburg before that and meticulously cared for and restored this house. So I can say at the time that I was in it 12 years ago, they were working great. They were doing well. I didn't see any sign from the outside that the glazing was coming out at all. It looked fine. I can't swear up and down because I haven't been there this year. It would have been nice to, get a survey application that was before all this. It also had well-fitting, expensive storm windows on it. I will say that's the other picture, that's the original picture. That's with storm windows on it. So you can tell how well they were fitted, and they were, very nice. So that's all I got to say, other than if anybody has any questions about the guidelines or something. We don't, there's nothing in our guidelines that says at this time that you can replace them if they're in good shape. It's written several times in there that sustainability-wise, we believe these are more sustainable. We believe the originals are more affordable as long as you have storms on them, because they have an R value of 2. New windows have an R value of 2.5. You get the brand new ones, the brand new storms, they also have an R value of 2.5 because they have a U coating on them that helps transmit less cold between the two. So, if you're going by the guidelines we have now, they're totally not okay. We don't have anything against their grid pattern. That's what the grid pattern was. That's the proportions they were. That's the old ones, you can tell. That's the red door. Yeah, that's new ones. I'm not sure. I know there's other little changes there. I'm not going to mention that we're also done. But the new guidelines we're writing will at least, if they do allow new windows, they will at least have exterior mutton patterns on We are unconcerned about your interior mutton powder because you can't see them except for inside. And we don't feel like we should be reviewing the inside of people's houses. And it looks weird from the inside as far as I'm concerned, but that's up to the owner. However, the exterior, mutton pattern does matter. I'm sorry, I hope everybody knows what a mutton pattern is. Muttons, okay. So we want not the little skinny, strappy, white vinyl ones or anything like that, real woodens, okay? So, any questions? No?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other public comments? All right, we'll go to Commissioner questions. Ernesto.
Yes, I have a question for staff.
Yes.
I just want to understand this. The windows that are there now, they were installed without permission from the commission?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Duncan, do you have any questions?
No.
No? Jeff,
No
questions?
questions.
Daniel? Melody?
No.
John?
How close is the rewriting of the rules? How's that coming along? Is this something that's going to happen soon, or is it going to happen in a year? I mean, are we days away from this and we could postpone it once, or is this long term? That's my question.
Honestly, I've been attending the meetings and I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna be,
It's not the
say
next
within a
few
month or
days,
two,
right?
no.
Okay. Thank you.
Karen?
No questions.
My questions have to do with the windows that were replaced. What sort of inspection or evaluation was done on those windows before they were taken out?
That was very much just a personal decision.
Ah, okay. All right, that answered my question. Jack, do you have questions?
I'll address this to Noah. Chickering has had dealings with HBC before, have they not?
Yes.
Do we go back a couple of years, or do you have any off the top here? When's the last time we may have talked with them, or?
So there's a couple of instances that came up in this meeting. One was there was a application in 2025 to replace windows on another house in the Elm Heights Historic District. That was submitted sort of speculatively. Sam DeSoller, who was chair at the time, and myself both checked out the property, and it didn't look like the windows there met the threshold in the district guidelines for replacement. So that application was withdrawn. Prior to that, there was another retroactive COA applied for in a case I think somewhat similar to this one, as Lindsay had pointed out, where a door had been replaced without an application. That was in 2024. The COA is good for 2 years. And a proposed custom door was voted on by the commission as part of a resolution to that NOV.
Okay, thank you, Noah. To our petitioner, where are the old windows now? Are they available?
Actually, we're hoping, we've got our maintenance man who does a lot of our work for us is currently sick with emphysema. And so unfortunately he's in the hospital, so we're not. But he's a notorious hoarder, so we are hoping that potentially we still have these windows. I cannot speak to that 100% yet. But if I know him and his hoarding tendencies, it's a possibility that we have them in a barn somewhere.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
All right, we already did public comments, so I'll take a motion on this.
We'll move to deny.
I second that.
Okay. I'm just making sure you had the.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, let's have a discussion then. Ernesto, do you have any comments?
I really don't know what else to say, other than I support the staff recommendation. That's all I have.
Duncan?
It's always worse when somebody's done something and then asks you to approve it after it's over. I don't, I'll just say frankly, I don't think this particular company has a very good track record in obeying historic preservation or observing its historic preservation districts. And it seems to me that they would have learned their lesson by now. And so I think this is a case of ask forgiveness later, frankly. That's just a judgment that's a personal one. Their windows themselves are inappropriate. The other ones were original fabric, which is an important consideration in preservation. And they had storm windows on them, so they've actually made the house less efficient by doing this. So there's no excuse for it, in my opinion.
Jeremy, can I interrupt? We are basing our decision, you are basing your decision on whether it meets the standard and the guidelines for the neighborhood. So I think let's stick to whether you agree if it meets them or not.
Well, we're making decisions based on Secretary's standards as well as the guidelines. I beg to differ. So it's a little more complicated than that. And I'm sorry if I spoke inappropriately in your opinion, but this lesson needs to be said. And I'm a commissioner and I have the authority to say it.
Thank you, Duncan. Jeff?
No comment.
Daniel?
I don't have anything to add.
Melody? John?
The difficulty I have with this is that Elm Heights is in the middle of sort of rethinking how they're going to do their rules. And, you know, right now they're debating whether they're going to be an all-wood neighborhood or a metal neighborhood or a vinyl neighborhood or, you know. And so I think that makes this a more difficult vote. I think the rules as they stand, it's pretty clear. At the same time, you know, this is a real problem, and you know, I think that maybe the companies let down their neighbors by skipping the whole approval step, and I think that that's something we should consider. But I wouldn't want to single out any particular company as not being pro-preservation, because I think Chickering has a fairly big stable of houses that they've taken decent care of. So that's my comment.
All right, thank you, John. Karen?
Well, it's, this happened, you know, a while ago, and has just come to our attention this way. The guidelines were in place, they're currently in place, they'll be in place for a while, and then we have to approve them. Who knows? You know, we can't move the clock around. From the photographs we have, from the Google photographs, we don't see evidence of a need or deterioration, so I think the only thing to do here is to deny.
I think based off of what we have in the application, there was not any sort of evaluation of what the old windows were, so we can't evaluate if they were rotting or not and warranted replacement based on either the neighborhood guidelines or the Secretary of Interior guidelines. So as a result, I think we would need to deny it. Jack?
Well, I have to say, we have a company that has not paid attention to guidelines and has gone ahead and done this sort of replacement without permission before. I think that needs to be said. They should learn the lesson. But if reading from the guidelines, Elm Heights, if original windows, doors, or hardware can be restored, reused, they should not be replaced. And then there are other elements here talking about character defining features. We'll be talking about mountains and such, whether they're real or not. It appears that the windows might not meet standards. And we've already talked about vinyl windows being the least cost, but the least trustworthy and reliable alternative. So I think I have no more comments other than that.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we already did public comment on this, so I think we're ready to go ahead for the vote.
Okay, there's a motion to deny COA 2609 that's been moved and seconded. We'll take a roll call vote. A yes vote would be to deny. Jack Baker,
Yes.
John Butler,
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda,
Yes.
Melanie Duthner,
Yes.
Jeff Golden,
Abstain.
Karen Duffy,
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard,
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel.
Yes.
Motion to deny passes.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
No, I think we'll need to reach back out to them at some
Yes.
point. Okay.
Mhm.
So no follow-up.
Thank you for your
All
time.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have COA 2610. Is the petitioner present for this? Yeah. All right, excellent. No, go ahead.
All right. COA 2610. The address here is 211 East 15th Street in the Garden Hill Historic District. Petitioner is Rishav Sharma. This is a non-contributing gable front minimal traditional house. Built in the 1920s or 30s, 211 East 15th Street is a non-contributing property in the Garden Hill Historic District. The one-story house has a minimal design and has a number of additions to the west, rear, and a connection to a mid-century limestone garage. This request proposes a rear addition to the northwest corner of the building, bringing the rear of the house in line with the north end of the garage, as you can see in the floor plan here. Ganesh Properties LLC proposes a rear addition, adding 1 bedroom and 2 bathrooms. The 2 bathrooms, each approximately 11 by 6 feet, are located adjacent to each other. One will be attached to an existing bedroom, the other to the new bedroom. After consultation with our contractor, David Thomas, the design extends from the existing garage gable roof to cover the new construction. No new roof form, pitch, or ridge height is required. Our intent is to preserve the continuity of roof form and massing consistent with the existing structure. Proposed exterior openings include 1 2-by-2-foot window in each bathroom, 2 3-by-2-foot windows on the west wall of the new bedroom, 1 3-by-2-foot window on the north wall of the new bedroom, 1 standard 36-inch door, and a 3-foot wide hallway. The construction may occur in 2 phases, depending on tenant coordination, with phase 1 consisting of the bathroom addition attached to the existing bedroom, and phase 2 potentially consisting of the new bedroom and second bathroom. Proposed materials include exterior siding to match the existing white siding, concrete block foundation consistent with the existing construction, asphalt shingles to match the existing roofing, and standard residential windows and exterior door with a storm door. Staff recommends the approval of COA 2610. The proposed addition to 211 East 15th Street is largely hidden from the street behind a side addition and garage. The applicant proposes to use materials found elsewhere on the house, and the design presented includes a visible cement block foundation and fenestration patterns similar to those found on this building and on others in the surrounding neighborhood. Note that the east elevation pictured in the files faces west, and also this appears to be mirrored, which if you go back to site plan here, you'll notice that this addition will be located in the northwest corner of the existing structure. Does the petitioner have anything that he would like to add?
What I would say is that, which is not relevant to anything in this construction. 1991, I bought this house, so I'm emotionally attached to this house. Each time I go around my other rentals, I definitely make sure that I go around this house. Now that's the emotional part of it. It has nothing to do with what we proposed. I have appeared in the committee like this about 25 years ago. There were only 5 people then. And it was not pertaining to this house, it was my other rental house. We were changing the window. So now going back to this house is whatever the integrity of the house is, I will maintain it. Whatever I can do to make sure that the tenants, future tenants and current tenants are comfortable with the construction, I will do that. All these 35 years I've been living in Bloomington for 40 years. 35 years I've been in rental business. I'm a landlord. I went to school here. I graduated from Indiana University. I studied chemistry, but it has nothing to do with chemistry. So I changed my profession. The bottom line is this, that I'll make sure, I'm gonna say it again, that I will maintain the integrity of the house. And I will do anything in my power to again make sure that I maintain good relations with the department, with the city, which I have done it over 35 years. No one has ever filed a complaint against my rental properties, and I have never taken anybody to the court. So I have a very good standing in the community. I would request you to approve it, and if it is done, I will be very grateful to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any public comments on this COA, both in the room or online?
Oh, I did receive neighborhood comment. Yeah. They did not state any objection to the proposed addition.
Ernesto, do you have any questions?
I do not, thank you.
Duncan, questions?
No question.
Jeff?
No questions.
Daniel?
Nope.
Melody?
No.
Nope. John?
No.
Nope. Questions?
No.
No? All right, fair enough. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second that? Or, go ahead.
John, second.
John is second, and Mr.
No,
No,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Jeff, thank you, Jeff.
All right, comments. Ernesto, any comments?
I do not have comments.
Duncan?
I mean, the building's, as noted, has been significantly changed over the years. Actually, the alteration that he wants to is proposing is pretty much in keeping with the previous ones.
Yeah.
And they've been well done, I think. And it's a non-contributing house in a district, so I wouldn't be concerned about it.
Jeff?
No comment.
Daniel? Melody?
No.
John?
I really like how this is all tucked around the back of the building. I think it's a very nice scale for your neighbors. You're not taking away their light, and you're not intruding on their space. So I think this is a very good project.
Thank you.
Karen?
Yes, I agree. It's really not, it would be hardly visible from the street at all.
Yeah, I
So-
agree with Karen and Duncan's comments previously.
Yeah.
No problem with it. Jack?
I agree with Commissioner comments.
Excellent. All right, I think we're ready to vote.
Okay, and this would be on COA 26-10, motion to approve. Roll call vote, Jack Baker,
Yes.
John Butler,
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda,
Yes.
Melanie Dusner,
Yes.
Jeff Golden,
Yes.
Karen Duffy,
Yes.
Jeremy Hacker,
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel,
Yes.
motion passes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have a demolition delay, 2602.
We have one demolition delay proposed this evening for 503 North Rogers Street. Petitioner is Ernest G.
What was that? Just hold on a second.
Also, I realized there's one COA from earlier tonight where the petitioner wasn't present. Do we want to check and see if he might be online now?
We can do that after the DD.
Okay,
We already
let's
started.
go through this. Okay.
While replies, can we close out that little window because it's blocking the number of the requests every time during
The thing up there
Right
says
here,
okay.
it says okay.
the. Yeah.
Thank you for saying something.
Ah.
My
You've been holding it in.
apologies. Thank you for saying something.
All right, no, go ahead.
I'm sorry, this is not 503 North Rogers Street. This is 614 North Grant. Petitioner is Ernest G. Petition is for full demolition. 614 North Grant is a severely altered one-story gable front house with a pedimented porch on the south half of the front elevation, facing east to Grant Street. Or is it west? Shoot. Facing west, that's what I thought. Okay, it says east, that's not right. Most of the original exterior materials have been replaced, including, in 2026, the 3 Doric columns and short wood railing on the front porch. Aside from the house's overall form and stone foundation, little remains of its original appearance. The building is fronted by a herringbone brick sidewalk. Built between 1910 and 1914, 614 North Grant was first bought by Washington and Julia Voss. The couple lived in the house until 1930, shortly after Washington's death. Born in Kentucky in 1848, Washington Voss served as a young teenager in the 1st Kentucky Union Cavalry during the Civil War. During his time in Bloomington, he frequently switched jobs between clothing salesman, barber, assessor, and gardener. Julia rented the house to several couples prior to selling it in 1936 to Blanche and Francis Letellier. Blanche worked as a clerk in various shops, and Francis was a stone carver employed by a local mill. In 1957, he found new employment as a machine inspector at the RCA radio TV plant. After Francis's death in 1960, Blanche ran at the home a at-home nursery for the next 2 years. Since Blanche sold the house in 1962, it has served as a rental mostly for Indiana University students. From 1968 through 72, this was the residence of Paul Coda, a PhD student in library science who would go on to serve as the rare book librarian at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Staff recommends the release of Demo Delayed 2602. Does the petitioner have anything that he would like to add?
I do not. Thank you, Tom.
All right, so public comments. Anybody, go ahead and state your name.
My name is James Ford. I live a few blocks from this house. The house is obviously is not historically important in terms of the people who are living there and architecture. And I realize that the committee has only 2 options to either designate it historic or let it go. I have just a question if the committee has any oversight over the sidewalk. I know it's a silly thing to look at, but that's the sidewalk. It's right across the street from another sidewalk that matches it. There's not many brick sidewalks left. And the house right across the street from this was recently, last 10 years, redone. It looks amazing, and it would be nice for this brick sidewalk to be retained on both sides of the street at this particular location. There are no more brick sidewalks on the west side of Grant or anywhere from West Grant all the way to campus, but there are a few just east of this, or sorry, just west of this. That's my only comment. I would like you to consider, if you can, saving the sidewalk. If not saving it exactly the way it is, then asking the petitioner to carefully remove it, pile up the bricks somewhere safe, do whatever they're going to do, and then put the sidewalk back, maybe replacing ones that can't be replaced, can't be reused, but have a herringbone brick sidewalk in that location. Having it there would be nice for the neighborhood as a whole. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Are there any other public comments? Yes, go. Hold on. Right behind you.
Amy Butler. I live in the area and walk by it often with my dog, and I agree that you know, the sidewalk, it would be great if we could say that it's, would help with the contiguous look of the neighborhood. And there are miles and miles and miles of cement sidewalk. I understand that part of the planning process in the city is if you put in a new thing that they want you to set back the sidewalk. This is not on a main road, it's on a side street. And I don't think that any of that has ever been considered, but it would be really nice if we could say that.
I own the property across the street, so I would recommend.
Excuse me, sir. Oh, could you say what your name is?
Oh,
please?
Brian Allen.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would recommend to, you know, approve the demolition of this house.
As is.
And, yeah, and a comment about the sidewalks. Those sidewalks and the sidewalks around the house I own are in horrible condition, so, I think they need to be fixed, first of all, or just paved with regular cement.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments in the room or online? Nothing online.
There is an online question.
Excellent, all right. Person who wants to make a comment, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I know the previous person who spoke said they own a house across the street. I own the two houses directly across the street. One of them is at 401 East Cottage Grove. The other house is at 705 North Grant Street. And one question I had was, I think the petitioner's current plan, because he's removing a lot of trees, is to place a lot of trees in the sidewalk. And I was curious if they preserve the sidewalk, where the trees are going to go. Because it looked like the original plan was placing a lot of trees in the sidewalk. I don't know if that falls in your purview at all. That was a question of mine.
If this demolition delay is released, for clarification, that would also release for a year the right to remove the sidewalk or replace it. My understanding, hearing from the planning department, is if something new were to be built at this location, in order to bring the site into compliance with current code, they would have to replace the sidewalk. And so part of that would involve, you know, installing, I believe, a median between the sidewalk and the street, in which those trees would be replaced, and then replacing the brick sidewalk with a concrete one. Well, we have, I'm sorry, it was whispered to me, I don't want to put you on the spot. Is that sort of the gist?
Oh, yeah,
Hold on, the person online, please hold on.
Not for me.
The person online, please hold on. We have somebody in the room who's speaking.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I am not sure who you spoke with in planning, but typically, yes, that would be the case. Most road classifications do have a required tree plot. So when properties are redeveloped, a lot of the monolithic sidewalks or sidewalks adjacent to the street are going to be replaced, so that you can have an adequate space to put the trees that protect the pedestrians from the car space.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. I think we'll move on to.
I would just ask the person speaking if they could provide their name, because I don't have it in.
Yeah, sure, it's Michael Rams.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ernesto, do you have any questions about this? No? Duncan, do you have questions? No questions. Jeff?
No question.
Daniel?
Not questions.
Okay. Melody?
No questions.
No.
I guess my question would be for Noah, is could we release the house, but if we tried to keep the sidewalk, we'd have to designate the sidewalk as historic?
We have designated a sidewalk as historic in the past. I honestly don't know how it would work here, considering that this would apply to, potentially in this case, you know, whatever stretch of sidewalk is fronting the property. Yeah. I wish I had a clearer answer for you. you know, obviously part of the difficulty is the fact that the sidewalk is owned by the city.
Yeah.
But is maintained by the adjacent property owner, in which case, I'm skeptical as to whether we could designate the sidewalk from this demolition delay.
Okay. Thank you. Jack, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Did you have
Yeah,
a
I want to
follow-up?
follow up on your question. I think it merits to investigate a little bit further. If the city owns the sidewalk, why would the petitioner would demolish it?
What was, why would the petitioner demolish it if the city owns it?
Yeah. With what permission?
Is that a question that you'd be able to answer, David?
Why are they responsible
Yeah.
for?
If the city owns it,
Uh-huh.
why would the petitioner would be allowed to demo a city-owned property?
Because they'd be upgrading the facility as a part of
Is-
full compliance with new construction. So they would need a right-of-way permit as well from the engineering department, but in order to satisfy our planning requirements, that would be included. Same with like a change in use for a commercial property, that's included with limited compliance as well. So
I
that's
see.
fairly typical.
Okay, thank you. Still not clear.
Sounds like it might be complicated. I mean,
Yes,
that's kind of what
yes.
I'm getting. All right, well, let's, I think we're,
Is the issue
Yes.
to try to, are you looking for a strategy to save the sidewalk?
Yes.
I was just curious if
Yeah,
there was something
well,
there.
I'm curious about a strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, in the past, those designations haven't been linked to the adjacent property necessarily. And that sidewalk, I don't know how much of that's brick, but it probably goes beyond that site, doesn't it?
Yeah, it extends down the block.
So you would, most likely, if you were gonna designate it, you would select the whole thing, which would be more than is just in front of this property. I don't know what the city would do if they're requiring the developer to take the sidewalk up. Do they only take it up in front of their property? I suppose so. Crazy.
Yeah.
So I would look for variances, some kind of variance to protect the sidewalk. If I were the petitioner and I want to keep it, I'm not saying that the petitioner does, but it seems like that would be available. I have these around the house that I own in town, and we've protected them because we take care of them.
Right.
As long as we take care of them.
All right. Any other questions? All right, we did public comment, so I'll entertain a motion on this.
Move to approve this demolition plan.
To release the demolition
Release
delay?
it, excuse me.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right, let's talk about it. Ernesto.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be in the interest of the petitioner to request a variance. Should we, or can we legally have a condition of approval for it?
No, and I need to look at that with planning department and really see what the feasibility is. We've had this come up before, and it's been difficult to separate
Right,
the house from
right.
the obligations for maintaining the sidewalk. So I think if you wanted to explore that, the best thing to do would be to continue this case, to vote down the motion that's on the table, and take up a motion to continue the case and give staff a minute to do some research and bring you back whether it's feasible to keep the sidewalk without the house.
That sounds appropriate to me.
Duncan, do you have comments?
No, that's the first person I've heard come up with a strategy.
That's great. No,
Jeff?
I think it's a tall order to get the city, if he's gonna build, what I'm guessing he's gonna build, to not put a real sidewalk, not real, but
Yeah.
a concrete sidewalk.
Okay. Daniel?
I'm sorry, what is his name with the city?
This is Daniel. I mean, sorry, David. Daniel.
Dave, so if this has come up before, how does that, because that's directly in front of that, next to the road there. So if that's supposed to be set back, but on either side of it, those are brick sidewalks next to the road, how does that, I'm just trying to wrap my head around how that's done.
So you're asking about the fact that they would be different, the sidewalks would be different distances from the road?
Correct.
Yeah, so the way I interface with this is, like, planners will get the demolition permit or the new construction permit, or they'll get both, but when the new construction comes along, we have a list of public improvements that they need to make that comply with the Unified Development Ordinance, and then the Unified Development Ordinance also references the transportation plan. So in the UDO, we have like street trees, for example, one large canopy street tree every 30 feet. And then in addition to that, it references the transportation plan where you use the typology of each street that the property fronts on, and then that determines your tree plot width and your minimum sidewalk width as well. So we can get into the weeds a little bit on that, but essentially the sidewalk does need to jog back to the adjacent properties which have the sidewalk adjacent to the street. We work with the engineering department to establish like the most reasonable path that people would walk. So sometimes that does result in a bit of a stub at the new property, and then when the next one gets developed, you know, we can take that little extra triangle that we have now once that property gets redeveloped, and we have both of them at the appropriate location. So it does vary from case to case. Sometimes there's not a stub, sometimes there is. But we deal with that a lot. But we're just trying to get, as these come up, as the redevelopments come up, we want everything to be in the desired location according to the transportation plan.
Any other comment? Melody, comment? John?
I think it's a shame that, you know, this keeps happening, these demolitions keep happening to this neighborhood, and I think that this is exactly why the Cottage Grove Historic District is being proposed.
All right. Karen?
I have no comment.
Yeah, I'm just curious about breaking up the sidewalk in that way, and I might be interested to see in more detail and in writing a little bit more clarification as what happens instead of just some verbal stuff that's kind of hard to process in the moment. That's my opinion. Yeah. Jack, comment?
Yes, years ago, our neighborhood restored a historic sidewalk using city grants. So it's possible. I can't say how likely, but it is entirely possible that you go to the city, and it's used to be small and simple, and there might have been another grant for more money, but something you might want to look into. That's all I have.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We did public comment on this, so I think we're ready to do the vote. So vote for yes is to release the demolition delay.
That is correct. So there's a motion to release 2602. A yes vote would be to release. Jack Baker.
Always a reluctant vote, but yes.
John Butler.
No.
Ernesto Castaneda.
Yes.
Jeff Golden.
Yeah.
Melanie Dusner.
Yes.
Karen Duffy.
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard.
No.
Daniel Schlegel.
No.
That is a 5-3 vote, so it does pass.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead.
This is a resolution to stop demolition delay waiting period before the 90 or 120-day period has expired, and allow a partial demolition project to begin for property whose historic designation, if pursued, will take place later. Today, regarding the property located at
614 North Grant.
614 North Grant, the Historic Preservation Commission declares that it got notice of a proposed demolition or partial demolition, and after today's discussion sees no need to review the plans any further and waives the rest of the demolition delay waiting period. The HPC may later recommend the property for historic designation to the Common Council.
Thank you, Jack.
The
Tonda?
petitioner would like to say something.
Okay. Go ahead.
We're trying to get him to unmute.
Hey Noah, I noticed on the slide near the top, it said North Rogers address.
Yeah, no, that's, I noticed that, but
I just wanted
It's
to make sure, I didn't know for the record if
Yeah.
you needed to correct that or anything.
well, I should correct this when I upload the PowerPoint, certainly.
But we
Sorry,
said,
Noah.
we got the
No,
right
it's-
address on this.
But on
Yeah.
this, okay, I was gonna make
Yeah.
sure, cause I
Yeah.
saw 614 further down and on here, so
We're good.
you're 2 out of 3.
I've asked him to unmute. We're still.
Okay, well, I think we'll go ahead and move on then.
Okay.
They can follow up with Noah if they have any other questions. We have a packed agenda, so.
I want to check right now to see if Han Chong is present, either online or in person.
COA 2607.
Yeah.
I've also put that in the chat about 20 minutes ago as
Okay,
well.
so no news from him.
I haven't had any indication.
I think we continue that. to the
Okay.
next meeting now. All right,
Well, that was my-
next up is the Historic District nomination. This will go slightly different than the COAs that we've had. It will start off with a staff report. We'll have questions from the staff about Noah's report after that. Then there's going to be the owner's discussion. That's basically the people who are proposing the petition. They can say a few words and recommending it to the commission. The commission then has questions for the people who are petitioning. Then after that is public comment. People who are interested in speaking out about this proposed conservation district can say their piece at that time. Depending on how many people are here to say that, we might limit the comments to 3 minutes, just so we're not here until like 1 o'clock in the morning. After the public comment, I'll entertain a motion from the commission, and then we will go into discussion and vote after that. So, Noah, would you please start off?
Did I not have a picture there? Okay. This application is nomination HD 2601 for the Cottage Grove neighborhood, or the Cottage Grove Conservation District. Petitioners include John Butler and the Cottage Grove Designation Committee. The push to designate the a conservation district in the Cottage Grove neighborhood was initiated by neighborhood residents in response to a growing number of demolitions in the surrounding area, including the proposed demolition of 115 East 12th Street, located within the proposed district. Because of the historic significance of the house's association with prominent local sculptor Ivan Adams, the Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission nominated the property for designation to the Bloomington Common Council, and it was individually designated on December 17th, 2025. Meanwhile, a group of residents began seeking designation for the wider area, sending letters to property owners and hosting a series of public meetings at the Monroe County Public Library to discuss the prospect of nominating a conservation district. On December 17th, 2025, petitioner Dr. John Butler submitted an application to the Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission. Due to difficulties in achieving quorum and delays over the holiday season, the public meeting and vote, hearing and vote of the Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission on this matter were postponed until today, February 12th, 2026. Survey and ratings. The Cottage Grove Historic District was identified in the early Indiana Division of Historic Preservation and Archaeology surveys as an area eligible for designation on the National Register of Historic Places. Despite being labeled in the Indiana Historic Sites and Structures Inventory as a historic district, the neighborhood has never been designated at the local, state, or national level. The area received local recognition for its architectural significance in 1974, when the 1852 Greek Revival mansion of General Morton C. Hunter was demolished amongst much public outcry. Although only a couple of buildings of this era remain in the district, the neighborhood was recognized by state historians for the density and integrity of early 20th century houses. Aside from some mid-century infill, most of the buildings in the proposed district date to this period. As of the current city survey of historic structures, 15 of the 122 houses in the proposed district are rated notable for their architectural significance. One is rated outstanding. 90 is contributing. I checked again today, it's 89. This would place the Cottage Grove Historic District among Bloomington's neighborhoods with the most consistent architectural significance. The boundaries in the state survey would differ slightly. I don't know if that's included. Would differ slightly from the proposed local district boundary. They include the northeast corner of Walnut and 10th Street, which has not yet been redeveloped, as well as the south side of Cottage Grove between Grant and Dunn, which has been mostly redeveloped. The boundaries admit most of Grant north of Cottage Grove, because while most of the houses on this block date from the early development of the neighborhood, many have lost their integrity. Also admitted is the 300 block of East 12th Street for unclear reasons, and the west side of the 700 block of Washington Street, which was platted later and built mostly post-war. The boundaries proposed in this petition includes most of the Lades, Rohrer, Clarks, and Reed's addition, as well as half of the Cottage Grove addition. This represents a contiguous area, mostly developed in a short span of time, omitting areas for which integrity has been largely lost. This district is being nominated under 3 criterion presented by the Bloomington Historic Preservation Ordinance, including criterion 1C, 2E, and 2G. Criterion 1C is for historic significance, exemplifying the cultural, political, economic, social, or historical heritage of the community. The Cottage Grove neighborhood was largely built to provide housing to employees of the nearby Showers Furniture Company and limestone industry, which dominated the economy of turn-of-the-century Bloomington. Like many Bloomington neighborhoods of this era, the Cottage Grove was economically mixed. Most of the houses were associated with workers in these industries. And as will be explained below, material and architectural features in the built environment attest to the important role that these industries played in the development of the area. Under criteria for architectural significance, 2E contains any architectural style, detail, or element in danger of being lost. The applicants list several unusual buildings and features included in including Bloomington's only example of a brick Queen Anne style house, and a bungalow with a belvedere, an original feature that would stand out on any bungalow. Another particularly rare building type can be found at 217 East 10th Street in the form of a Civil War era hall and parlor house that faithfully displays Greek revival features popular in the 1800s. Several similar examples can be found in Bloomington, but this farmhouse would rank among Bloomington's oldest extant buildings. Another criterion being considered is 2G, for exemplifying the built environment in an era of history characterized by a distinctive architectural style. The solid majority of the buildings in the proposed district date from the years before and after World War II. Pre-war houses, mostly working class, predominate in the eastern part of the district.
That's World War I.
World War I. Did I say World War II? Yeah. Okay, well, it says World War I in the packet, so I was wrong. Okay. Pre-war houses, mostly working class, predominate in the eastern part of the district. Like in contemporaneous neighborhoods west of downtown, most of these are built in folk Victorian and Queen Anne style. Many in gabled L form, commonly associated with this period in Bloomington's history, with a number of limestone houses from the late 1910s and 1920s are mostly craftsman style, with a conspicuous number of limestone Tudor revival houses. Many of the pre-war homes were built by employees of the Showers Brothers Furniture Company and bear the hallmarks of carpenter-built folk housing, while many of the larger post-war houses are associated with the booming limestone industry. In parts of the neighborhood, brick sidewalks and limestone retaining walls distinguish this early Bloomington neighborhood. The staff recommendation is for forwarding this nomination of the Cottage Grove, should be Conservation District, to the Bloomington Common Council. The Cottage Grove has long been identified as an area with architectural significance and integrity potentially eligible for historic designation. The applicants who prepared this nomination for the Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission have demonstrated care in the nomination process and strong local support for a conservation district. In addition to the area's historical and architectural significance, the neighborhood consists of a densely populated mix of students, owner-occupants, and other renters, a mix of upscale and affordable properties, and an attractive walkable environment close to downtown and the IU campus. While much of the surrounding area has been redeveloped, the western core of the Cottage Grove neighborhood demonstrates a strong cohesion. At this point, I'm done with my report.
Okay, then we'll do commissioner questions
Okay.
about your report first. Ernesto, do you have any questions for Noah?
I do not, thank you.
Duncan, do you have any questions for Noah?
No,
Jeff?
not at this time.
All right, Daniel, any questions?
Well done, Noah.
Melody, any questions?
No.
I'm not going to take part in the discussion.
Okay.
So I abstain, I guess, or is it recuse? Recuse.
I recuse yourself from the discussion. All right. Thank you, John.
No questions.
I don't have any questions. Jack, do you have any questions?
I think this was a wonderful presentation, no questions.
All right. Thank
I
you.
do
very
have
much.
a question.
Go
So
ahead.
did you look at zoning? Is there significant pressure on all these properties in this area because of the zoning? So that I get why they want to protect it, because those houses are in peril. So, and would, I guess I asked that question because would that affect how the council looks at this?
I mean, it might, but I mean, for us, we're looking at the historical
Historic,
significance
right.
and architectural significance, so that's not really for us to
Okay.
consider. Any other questions for Noah from the commissioners? All right, seeing none, we'll move over to the petitioners who would like to speak out on behalf of this. We ask that you try to limit your comments to 3 minutes to be fair to everybody who's going to be speaking after this. Who would like to speak?
I have a little thing I wrote that I.
Yeah, that's fine.
Say, if that's
Yep.
My name's Amy Butler. I've been a major part of trying to get this done, and the fear of them being all torn down is why we've done this. And so I just had a short thing I want to write. Cottage Grove is a neighborhood worth protecting. This neighborhood is a small collection of 100-year-old or older homes that represent diverse architectural styles that are core to Bloomington. They are built of materials and use techniques from their era. They cannot be duplicated. Once they are lost, we are not getting them back. All the bits and pieces are present that make for a nice place to live. We have green spaces around our houses, including big mature trees and the subsequent shade they provide, even cooling the houses next door and the houses down the street. Our streets all have sidewalks, some of which are made of 100 to 120-year-old bricks, and then there's the WPA-era limestone sidewalks created by people needing work in a difficult time for our country. These sidewalks, our hand-built limestone walls, and the big old trees make for an especially pleasant place to walk in the summer when we are heading downtown. Most of our houses also have big porches, providing exterior spaces our residents can enjoy much of the year. Some of the porches wrap around the house, and the house will have a second entrance offering an additional place for the inhabitants to enter their home. This is a great example of how houses were able to work well for the resident owner and their residents, and their renters at the same time. Our neighborhood has a wonderful versatility to it. These old houses have multiple uses over the years. Some have been residents for many years, and others have been rentals since they were built. Some rental houses have even turned back to owner-occupied residents. Our houses are adaptable and useful, and that is why they have lasted for all these years. These are houses built by our working class, business managers, and mill owners.
Indiana's own Hoagie Carmichael was born in a house that would have been in our district. We have students, retirees, professionals, and even families. Our neighborhood is a great example of Bloomington's cultural heritage. It is facing significant development pressure, and I encourage you to vote in favor of protecting it. Thank you for your time in considering Cottage Grove.
Thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate that. All right, Commissioner questions for the petitioners. Ernesto, do you have any? Duncan, do you have any questions?
No.
Jeff? No. Daniel? Melody?
No.
Karen?
No.
I don't have any questions. Jack, do you have questions?
No, I don't.
All right, well, now we're coming up to the public comment section where everybody can speak out on behalf. Each person, once I call upon them, you will have 3 minutes to speak. I'll make sure, I'll go around the room. We'll go in person first, and then we'll go online to get the people that are online who would wish to speak. If you want to say something about this, please raise your hand. All right, go ahead. The gentleman in the green shirt, you state your name, and then you have 3 minutes.
My name is Jordan Evans. I'm here today as the president of the Old Northeast Neighborhood Association. I did prepare a letter for this. I participated in the meetings as well when I was available. So on behalf of the Old Northeast Neighborhood Association, we're writing to express our support for the development or redevelopment of properties within the boundaries of the Old Northeast Downtown Neighborhood Association. It's our understanding that residents in the High Point Neighborhood Association are seeking to apply for the level of historical designation for the entire neighborhood. As discussed and agreed upon at our last meeting, we do not support that as the Old Northeast Neighborhood Association. We recognize thoughtful development plays an important role in maintaining the vibrant, sustainable, and inclusive community that we have. We support projects that respect the character of the neighborhood while contributing to Bloomington's broader goals relating to housing availability, economic vitality, and responsible land use. The Old Northeast Downtown Neighborhood Association believes that well-planned development in compliance with city standards with appropriate community engagement strengthens our neighborhood by improving underutilized or aging properties, increasing housing options, and increasing the overall quality of life for our residents, whether those are renters or homeowners. We appreciate the city's ongoing efforts to balance the growth in the neighborhood as well as the interests of the people living in it. We look forward to continue to engage constructively on projects like this. We do want to be clear, we oppose the mapping as proposed. The lines do encroach upon the established Old Northeast Neighborhood District, and we were not consulted with or brought on any of the development with this. So appreciate everybody's time and consideration on that. Thank you
very much. Other public comments? Yes, sir. So please state your name.
Brian Allen. I own property in the neighborhood, again, across the street from the house you guys just approved for the release of the demo. I own right across the street, 322 East Cottage Grove, 320, 316, and 315. And unfortunately, my houses fall right across the street into this map here. So I oppose the nomination. I reiterate what Jordan has said, and thank you for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Other public comments in the room? Anyone want to raise their hand? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Bill Friel, and I've lived at 209 East 10th Street for 40-some years. The intentions that these gentlemen have expressed are excellent and ideal, but as properties exchange hands and times change, sometimes those ideals are not met. And we get the wholesale swath of destruction that we have seen in similar neighborhoods, such as specifically the 11 and 1200 block in North Woodburn, which is streets similar to our neighborhoods but have been leveled and replaced with shoebox-like buildings that are now full of IU students, which most of whom are fine neighbors, but some of whom are not. So we just want to, I remember hearing this gentleman here talk about respecting the integrity of the neighborhood, and that's really what we're after, is just to do that and to have you know, a little bit of restraint towards the idea of development and maybe some ideals that are or are not met. So I support this, and I support the Butlers. They've made a great effort. I hope you agree with it.
All right, thank you very much for your comments. Any other comments from in the room? Raise your hand. Yes, please, go ahead.
My name is James Ford. I live in the neighborhood. Unlike some people who just own property and rent in the neighborhood, I am a resident. We have already submitted our comments in letters to the packet, so they can be read what we're all thinking. You'll see that there has only been one single letter of opposition. The gentleman who was here, he's gone now, I don't know where. Most everyone that has submitted letters formally were in favor of this, as I am in favor of it. It is likely the last neighborhood in Bloomington that can be protected by this commission. The growth has been so fast lately from developers that they're going to be, what's left of any unprotected neighborhoods is going to be eaten up fairly quickly. I hope that you choose to protect this area the way it is a small area. It has not a large percentage of people who are owning that live in there, but perhaps once it's protected, it will become more desirable and more people will want to live in there. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you very much for your comments. Tonda, do we have anybody online who would like to speak?
We have some online people. I did put a note in there that they would be able to speak after those public comments here in person.
Okay.
We have a Michael Brams that would like to speak.
All right, Michael Brams, go ahead and speak. You have 3 minutes.
Could we wait for
Oh,
you? Now
sorry.
it's unmuted.
Okay, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, hi. I am an out-of-town owner. I own a house, as I said, that would fall within this area that's being designated, and one at 401 that's slightly outside in the old northeast neighborhood. I am in favor of the neighborhood because I know that for me, a lot of my tenants, when they want to rent, they want to live in something that resembles a house, something that's in a neighborhood. If they didn't want to live in a neighborhood or something that resembles a house, they would move somewhere else. I know there doesn't seem to be a lot of engagement with the neighborhood, with development right now. I know as a developer, I don't like holding charrettes, to be frank. They're can be unpleasant, but when I did 401 East Cottage Grove, I held a couple of them, and you know, some of the concerns in the neighborhood were taken into account as a result of the charrette, and I think there were probably compromises in what I built. You know, the house could have been knocked down, and I did not knock it down, and I think, you know, certainly I'm not against development at all. I like it. I've done it in the neighborhood for sure, but I think it's important to, you know, have engagement with the neighborhood, and you know, like with the house that was just approved for demolition, there doesn't seem to be a lot of emphasis or concern, as far as I can tell, on what's being put back. I mean, I know that when it was a while ago, but when I redeveloped 401 East Cottage Grove, you know, vinyl siding was not something the neighborhood wanted to see. There was, you know, back and forth about what the house should look like when it was rebuilt. And I do think that's important. It should surely cost me more money to put on cement board siding than vinyl, but I understand why the neighborhood wanted it. And I think perhaps, you know, this would at least put, you know, some guardrails and require some, you know, back and forth with the neighborhood. I mean, I know for at least, you know, maybe I missed it, but for the house that was knocked down, there was no charrette, or that's going to be knocked down at 614. There was no engagement with the neighborhood. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any other comments from folks that are online?
I don't see any indication.
Okay, well, we'll move on to the next step then. So the next step is I will, oh, yeah, sorry, I was timing it too. The next step is to entertain a motion on this conservation district designation.
I move to forward the nomination for Cottage Grove Conservation District to Bloomington Common Council.
Is there a second? Ernesto's second. All right, we're gonna have comments. Ernesto, any comments?
No comments other than I support the neighborhood for this. That's all.
All right, Duncan, comments.
Yeah, I support it, and I want to commend the neighbors who brought this forward. I've looked at a lot of historic district nominations, and this one I think is really thorough. It's really good at pointing out what's very special and also what's kind of normal about it, and really emphasizing both. And I think the argument that I think it was Noah's maybe research about how many notable houses there are vis-a-vis or relative to the total count, that struck me enough that I kind of took a cruise through the neighborhood again to remind myself that I used to have a lot of friends who lived on North Washington Street that, many, many years ago, almost all of whom moved out because of student takeover. But a lot of the houses along there are ones that I've spent a lot of time in over the years, and they're quite remarkable. So the fact that this district represents the housing in the grid and the working class improvements that came along with showers and limestone industry, which by the way is true of the Bloomington West Side community as well, and probably most of the inner city neighborhoods. It's still, nevertheless, it's an important thing to remember. And the sort of pre-World War I and post-World War I differentiation I found interesting, and I hadn't really thought about that. So I think it's a good nomination, and you should be commended for the job you did.
Thank you, Duncan. Jeff, any comments?
Yeah, so I've watched downtown change significantly, and because of what I talked about before, the change in zoning and facilitating large multi-unit properties. And this is a pocket of houses that obviously has some really special houses. So I think it's worth protecting.
Thank you. Daniel?
I have nothing else to add. I think it's well done, so I think it's worth supporting.
Melody?
I agree.
Karen, any comments?
Well, I second what Duncan said about it being a great nomination and these very interesting aspects that are brought forward. And but I would add something that Noah mentioned in his report. I think it's in the application too. Is that for decades, I think this neighborhood has been waiting, shall we say. It's been identified as a potential, great potential historic district, and I think it was just waiting for the right people to come along to bring it forward, neighborhood, gather the neighborhood support, and I'm really happy to see it happen.
Right. As for me, I fully support the findings that are in the staff report. I find this area to have historic significance and architectural significance as laid out by Noah. As Duncan mentioned, it has a very high number of, is it notable houses? Especially compared to some of the other districts that we have within the city. So this has my full support based on the historic significance and or architectural significance of the properties there. Jack, comments?
I thought it was a great petition as well. I always want to point out in case of conservation districts that things used to happen fast. Before DD and before conservation districts, houses could disappear very quickly, 2-3 days, and you wouldn't even know until it was gone. That's why these two protections were brought about, and words that we use for them are protection, security, stability, integrity, among others, and they slow the destruction. They don't make the neighborhood grow necessarily, but generally the neighborhoods, I think, do grow and become more solid and social because they are conservation districts. You also get to make rules about what can be done, can't be done. Rules that protect the neighborhood and keep them sustainable. So I'm a great proponent of conservation districts, and will certainly support this one.
All right, thank you, Jack. We've already done public comments on this, so I think we're ready to go ahead with the vote.
Okay. Just looking at the chair. There we go. There's been a motion to forward to Common Council for designation, which has been seconded. We'll take a roll call vote. Jack Baker?
Yes.
John Butler?
Recuse.
I'm so sorry, you recused
That's-
yourself.
that's
My
fine.
apologies. Ernesto Castaneda?
Yes.
Jeff Golden?
Yes.
Melanie Dusner?
Yes.
Karen Duffy?
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard?
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel?
Yes.
That motion passes.
All right, Jack, you need to read the
Thank you.
Forward to council.
But you need
Mhm.
to, conservation district, not historic district.
Let's see where that is. Okay. This is a resolution to forward a recommendation for property to get historic designation to the Common Council. Today, the HBC declares that all property located at, what's our description?
Cottage Grove.
At Cottage Grove meets the following criteria for the local designation referred to in the staff report. Then we have 1, 2, and 3. What do we fill in those blanks?
Do we need to read out the specific ones?
I think we should.
Okay, here, Jack, it's right here, it's the bolded. 1 second.
Okay. Number 1 here is exemplifies the cultural, political, economic, social, or historic heritage of the community. Number 2 exemplifies the built environment in an era of history characterized by a distinctive architectural style. Do we have others?
This third one right here, the last
And
one.
exemplifies the built environment in an era of history characterized by a distinctive architectural style. Consequently, the HPC recommends to historic designation under Title 8 of the Bloomington Municipal Code to the Common Council with the attached map. I assume that Noah has that map.
Yeah. And then we need to do another thing.
All right.
I would recommend that we put this area under interim protection. I would entertain a motion. Okay, Daniel,
Daniel made the motion.
and then a second.
Well, please, sure.
Jack's got the second.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any discussion? All right,
Okay,
I
it's
think
been
we're ready
moved.
for go. The vote.
I'm so sorry. It's been moved and seconded to place this area.
Can we get them?
Yeah, here, I'm trying to. I'm having trouble seeing which one is not muted.
Michael Bryan.
Yeah.
He's not showing up on my
Diana,
screen.
thanks for the
Hey,
cherry.
Michael, you are
Very nice.
on the meeting right now, sir. Can you mute?
There we go.
I just muted.
Thank you. I couldn't-
That was
My
amazing.
apologies, I could not see him on my screen. So it's been moved and seconded to place this area under interim protection. We'll go ahead and take a vote on that. Jack Baker,
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda,
Yes.
Jeff Golden,
Yes.
Melanie Dusner,
Yes.
Karen Duffy,
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard,
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel.
Yes.
That motion for interim protection has passed.
This is a resolution to place interim protection on a property that has been sent to the Common Council with a recommendation of local historic designation. Today, after a vote, the HPC recommends that the Common Council locally designate the property at Cottage Grove as historic and places the property under interim protection pending action by the Common Council under BMC 8.08.015.
All right, thank you, Jack. I just want to point out, this isn't over. This goes to the Common Council where they will vote, and they will not just be considering the historic and architectural significance. So you cleared the first hurdle. We'll see what happens with the next one. But congratulations for tonight.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, we still have stuff to do. Old business. Noah, do we have old business to discuss?
As some of you may know, Elm Heights Historic District has put together a committee that is reviewing their current guidelines, seeing if they want to make any changes to them. Per their neighborhood association's rules and procedures for how they're going about this, they want to have a serving member of the Historic Preservation Commission who can attend at least some of their meetings. Previously, this had been Sam DeSoler. Since he has not been reappointed to the commission, he's continuing to serve as an interested party, but the neighborhood association is looking for interested volunteers who are currently serving on the Historic Preservation Commission.
You don't have to answer right now, I think, but if you could think about it, email Noah. If you have some interest in doing that, that would be of great help to us. So appreciate you thinking about that. Anything else, Noah?
There's something I'd like to add under new business.
All right, if we're ready for new business, let's do it.
I've been putting together a new procedure for handling violations to make sure that it's dealt with consistently, and I've run it past the Annas. And part of what actually Anna Holmes here proposed is that once we present the language, which I hope to do at the next HPC meeting, that the commission decide whether or not they want to vote it into the rules and procedures. That way, it's going to be something that we do pro forma and won't be lost when there's turnover in institutional knowledge, as has sometimes happened.
Excellent. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that for Noah? I think it'd be great to have that written down, and it's pretty clear. Any other new business from you?
I'm trying to think.
It's okay if you don't.
Anything going on at the History Center? Oh, that would be Commissioner comments.
Commissioner comments. Does anybody wish to share any comments? I do. I want to thank Renard Cross and Sam DeSoler for their service. They were not reappointed to this commission. I think they brought different points of view, a lot of knowledge. Especially want to thank Sam for last year for serving as chair. I think he did a really good job. So I just want to recognize them for their service on this commission. And then just another thing, thanks everybody for voting me for chair, or at least those of you who voted. I will try not to royally screw it up, so thank you.
Well said.
Any other comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, I just have a quick comment. So I've been on this commission many years in the past, and I know that one of my faults is I'm a real estate appraiser. So you heard it tonight. I can't turn off the financial thing, so it's always in my head. So call me out.
I'm going to reclaim some time for me. I also want to welcome the new members as well, Jeff and John, and then Karen is a voting member now.
Yeah.
I know Abby wasn't able to make it, but we have another new person, so welcome back and welcome in different ways.
Yeah, Abby sends her regrets. It sounds like she's on vacation. She didn't know when the new appointment would happen, so she'll be here hopefully in March.
Excellent. All right, any other final public comments? There's last chance for public comments.
Yep. We still have a petitioner that was wanting to speak earlier.
Would like to.
And I've just asked to see if they wanted to in this last.
Well, we have an in-person comment. We can go ahead with them.
I actually have just a question, and I think I should address it to council. if a property or an area is put under interim protection, and if someone had previously demolished a house intending to build something, but they have not yet submitted a plan, a building plan, they've already started, can the interim protection stop it right now, protecting the building because they have not yet submitted a building plan? I know that's I'm not asking for an answer. I wanted to ask, put out the question, and I hope to maybe find out how to go about finding that answer. So, that's all.
I'm happy to look into that for you.
That's a good response.
Specifically, it's 717 North Green. Thank you.
All right, any other comments?
I would just like to say that I really was hoping to not be a member of this commission when the vote happened. I'm sorry that the timing went like that, but I don't want to put anybody in a bad position. So.
You recuse yourself. It's fine. Anything else? All right, hearing no other comments, this meeting is adjourned.